Okay, so have you ever felt like your emotions are just kind of bouncing around in your head like crazy?
Oh, tell me about it.
Today, we're diving into something that I think will help us all out with the difference between emotions and feelings.
Yeah, it's a distinction that I think trips a lot of people up. But getting it straight can really make a huge difference in how we handle our own emotions.
Absolutely. And to help us unpack all of this, we're taking a deep dive into this blog post called, get this, Emotions versus Feelings, Mysteries of Our Inner World.
Ooh, mysteries. I like it.
Right? The title alone had me intrigued. So let's get right into it. The blog starts off by saying that emotions are these raw, unfiltered reactions.
Yeah.
It's like that primal part of our brains going off like danger or woohoo.
It's so true.
And what I found super interesting is that the blog says our brains are actually the ones controlling these initial responses.
Yeah, that's spot on. Our emotions, they start in the limbic system. It's basically like the emotional control center for our brains.
Okay.
You can think of it as the part of you that's always on the lookout for threats or rewards for that matter. And then, boom, it sets off those immediate instinctual responses. Like, you know that feeling you get when you have to slam on your brakes to avoid an accident? Your heart's racing, your palms get sweaty.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's your limbic system kicking into high
Wow,
gear.
so that's our brain just going, going, going.
Yeah.
But then the blog goes on to talk about feelings, and this is where things got really interesting for me.
Okay, how so?
Well, they were saying that feelings are like the reading of emotions.
I like that, the remix.
Yeah. Right? Like emotions are the initial draft, and then our brains come in and add all these layers on top based on all our past experiences and beliefs. Even our culture gets mixed in there. And it just clicks for me like, oh my gosh, no wonder everyone experiences things so differently.
Exactly, and that's the key difference. Emotions are pretty universal, right? But our feelings, those are incredibly personal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
See, our feelings, they're shaped by the cerebral cortex, the thinking part of our brain. So it takes that raw emotional data, all that stuff your limbic system is sending out, and then it filters it through your own unique life story.
Okay, but there's this one part in the blog post that I swear just like made everything click for me.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
So they use this example of walking down a dark alley at night.
Oh, right, right.
Have you ever done that? Walk down a dark alley at night.
Ah,
I have, and let me tell you,
it's a little spooky.
it can be. So picture this. You're walking by yourself, and all of a sudden you hear this noise, like right behind you.
Yeah, your heart starts racing.
Exactly. Your heart is pounding. You might even jump a mile, and you're hit with this wave of fear.
Pure, unadulterated fear.
Right. That's pure emotion right there. Happened
Yeah.
right there in the alley with you. No filter.
Your limbic system hard at work, I see.
Yes, exactly. But now here's where it gets interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
Let's say you're someone who, I don't know, maybe they love scary movies.
Okay, okay.
That same situation, that same noise in the dark alley, it might actually give them a thrill. They might love it.
Right. It's all about how you interpret it.
Exactly. Same alley, same sudden sound, but totally different feelings about it.
Because those feelings are coming from a different place. You know what I mean? Your own personal experiences and perceptions, all those memories, your preferences, even how you were raised, it all gets factored into your reaction.
Wow, so it's like our brains are constantly adding their own personal soundtrack to our lives.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Adding their own soundtrack and special effects to the movie of our lives.
Yes. But you know what I find really powerful about all this?
What's that?
Knowing that our feelings, they're not like set in stone.
Right?
They're just interpretations of all this stuff our brain is throwing at us, not just these hardwired responses.
It's a very empowering realization, I think.
It is.
Because it really highlights just how incredible our brains are, how adaptable we are. And that's really what grabbed me about this blog post. It's not just about knowing the difference between emotions and feelings. It's about what we can actually do with that knowledge. That's where we can start to understand emotional well-being a little better.
So how do we use all this emotion and feeling stuff to actually like live better?
Yeah.
So, okay, we've got these like base level emotions going off in our brains and then our own personal filters turning them into feelings. But where do we go from there? How do we actually use all this to, feel better equipped to handle life?
Well, that's the real question, isn't it? And this blog post, it really lays out why this all matters.
Okay, I'm listening.
It boils down to this. Once you realize that your feelings, they're not set in stone, that they're shaped by all these other thoughts and experiences you've had, you can start to gain a little control over them.
So it's less about saying, well, I can't help how I feel, and more like, hold on a second, brain, let's unpack this.
Exactly. Think about it. Let's say someone cuts you off in traffic. Your first reaction, that gut feeling, might be anger.
Oh, 100%.
Right. But if you can just take a second and say, okay, yeah, I'm angry right now, but is this really just about this driver? Or am I bringing in all the stress from work or whatever else is going on? Then you can choose how you react.
Whoa, that is huge.
It
It's
is.
like you can hit the pause button on that emotional roller coaster before it even starts.
Oh.
Instead of just reacting, we can actually decide how we want to respond,
Mhm.
And it's healthier, maybe a little more US.
It's about creating that space between the emotion and your reaction. And the better we get at understanding where our feelings come from, the easier it is to navigate those really tough emotional situations with, dare I say it, maybe a little more grace and understanding.
This whole deep dive has been a total eye-opener for me. It's not just about putting a label on what we're feeling. It's about digging a little deeper, understanding the why behind those feelings, and realizing that we've got more power to shape our emotional landscape than we think.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And here's one last thought to leave you with. If our feelings are shaped by our experiences, just imagine what we could accomplish if we start to actively seek out experiences that nurture a more balanced and fulfilling emotional life, right?
Ooh, that's something to think about. Thank you so much for geeking out with me on this deep dive. This has given me a lot to unpack. And everyone listening, I hope this inspires you to learn a little bit more about your own emotions and feelings too. Until next time.